right, next up, Sarah Corlett. Looking forward to this one. Creative economy, blah, blah, blah. Oh, boy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So you stole my thunder a little bit. I'm also a transplant. I've been here for about 5 months now, and I moved here from Philadelphia by choice. So if you ask me where I went to high school, it will mean nothing to you. But interestingly enough, I had a similar reaction when I moved out to Philly and when I moved here, which people kind of looked at me and said, why are you here? You know, our city and our political system is corrupt and things aren't changing and we're stuck in our ways. And I just thought that it sort of spoke to me and said, these cities have a self-esteem problem. Not in this room, of course, obviously, as happened tonight. And so all I could really see from an outsider's perspective were really the assets. And so even, I put Mark Twain up here because I think I was here for about a month and people were already throwing that quote at me, if the end of the world comes, I want to be in Cincinnati because it's 20 years behind. And which is a little, so that's why I showed him, looking like a loser, because it's just not true. But what I really saw was just really dynamic neighborhoods, communities that were finding issues that needed to be addressed and coming together to solve them. I saw places like Findlay Market that exist over time and with the resilience, not closing their doors despite many challenges, and instances of this all over the city. And one of my favorite things about Cincinnati is its accessibility, and I'm not just talking about transit, I'm talking about the ability to start a small business here without having to have $500,000. We have some of the highest ranking academic institutions in this country that are popping out creative and innovative people that, given the right tools, can help continue to change the landscape of the city. So these are just, some of my favorite things about, about Cincinnati, and certainly all, what other city has a festival that starts off with a wooden goat and ends with 3 days of drinking? So I'm losing track a little here. This is kind of nerve-wracking. But my other point, I feel like I need to do justice and bring up Richard Florida. Because, it took him 326 pages and 2 appendices to tell the world that creative people are good for local economies. And I'm here to say that, and to also put Mark Twain to shame, that Cincinnati already was ahead of the game with this. And so coming up is I'm alerting you, this is the spammy part of my presentation. Back in 1996, an organization called Artwork started. And it started, And it started because it was, it really recognized and the concept that creative people needed to be nurtured, needed to have professional development, and could change the city. And they're doing that, and they have done that for the last 16 years by creating public art in many different forms of variation, by employing professional artists and youth, engaging the community in that process, and transforming our city. And last summer, a couple of innovators from Cincinnati met up with some other creative folks in Chattanooga, one of whom is here tonight, to talk about this idea of how do we capitalize on this asset we have, these creative people, and connecting them with our commercial corridors and our business districts that could use a little oomph, and keeping people in this city. And so really, I'm here to present to you tonight Springboard, which is a business planning program that takes those right-brained people and teaches them how to turn that craft and that skill into a sustainable business, into a viable storefront that continues to change the landscape of our city. The 8-week course is based on Edgar Dale's Cone of Experience, which, really the principle behind it is that people learn best by discussing and collaborating and doing things, and not by listening and reading. So technically, you'll only remember 50% of what I say, and I say, since you've all been drinking, it's probably going to be a little bit less. So over the course of the 8 weeks, these people will build a business plan, because sometimes you really need to sit down and think about how do you take your talent and make it a viable and feasible means for your economic health. And they will do this with the help of a professional network that's in Cincinnati that can continue to guide them over the course of their small business career. And so we will continue to take these really creative people that make things. We will engage them in Springboard. We will give them an opportunity to employ not just themselves, but hopefully other people, and we will continue to transform Cincinnati and see more of some of the great things that already exist in neighborhoods like Over the Rhine and Northside around Finley Market. So as I close, visit Springboard Cincinnati. Sign up is now open, and our first class is kicking off June 7th.